What if everything we thought we knew about Daemon Targaryen's journey at Harrenhal was wrong? What if those haunting visions, those mysterious encounters with Brynden Rivers, and those seemingly random glimpses into the past and future weren't just magical side effects of an ancient castle, but actually a carefully orchestrated recruitment process? What if Daemon Targaryen, the rogue prince himself, is being tested and prepared to become the next three-eyed raven? And what's more shocking, what if he's already accepted the role? The evidence has been building throughout House of the Dragon, hidden in plain sight within the Gothic halls of Harrenhal. From the moment Daemon set foot in that cursed castle, he began experiencing visions that go far beyond what any normal person, even a Targaryen, should be able to perceive. These aren't just random magical experiences, they're training sessions, evaluations, and ultimately, an initiation into one of the most powerful and mysterious roles in all of Westeros today. We're diving deep into a theory that will completely recontextualize Daemon's entire character arc and reveal why Harrenhal might be the most important location in the entire series. We're going to explore how the three-eyed raven position works, why Daemon would be the perfect candidate, and most importantly, how the signs of his transformation have been there all along, waiting for us to piece them together. But first, let's establish what we know about the three-eyed raven from Game of Thrones. This isn't just some mystical advisor sitting in a tree. The three-eyed raven is essentially the living memory of the world, capable of seeing through time, influencing events across history, and serving as a bridge between the realm of the living and a vast network of knowledge that spans millennia. Bran Stark became the three-eyed raven, but the position existed long before him, and it will continue long after. The role requires someone with specific qualities: the ability to see beyond the present moment, the mental strength to process vast amounts of information spanning centuries, and most crucially, the wisdom to understand when to intervene and when to simply observe. These aren't qualities that can be taught in a traditional sense. They must be cultivated through experience, testing, and ultimately, choice. Now, let's examine what's really happening at Harrenhal. From the moment Daemon arrives, he begins experiencing visions that are far more specific and meaningful than random magical interference. He sees moments from Targaryen history, glimpses of possible futures, and encounters with figures who seem to know far more about his destiny than he does himself. These visions aren't chaotic or meaningless, they follow a pattern, a curriculum designed to prepare him for something far greater than military conquest. The key figure in this process is Brynden Rivers, the mysterious woman who seems to know exactly what Daemon is experiencing and why. She's not just some hedge witch with minor magical abilities. She's acting as a guide, a teacher, helping Daemon navigate these visions and understand their significance. Her knowledge of his experiences, her ability to appear in his dreams, and her understanding of the broader magical forces at work all point to her being far more than she appears. Consider the nature of the visions Daemon experiences at Harrenhal. He sees moments from the past that he shouldn't have any knowledge of, witnesses events that shape Targaryen history, and glimpses possibilities that stretch far into the future. These aren't random magical phenomena. They're exactly the kind of temporal awareness that defines the three-eyed raven's abilities. The progression of these visions is also telling. Initially, they seem to disturb and confuse Daemon, but as time passes, he begins to understand and even anticipate them. He starts to show an intuitive grasp of their meaning, demonstrating the kind of wisdom and foresight that would be essential for someone taking on the role of the three-eyed raven. This isn't madness or a magical confusion. It's education. Itself plays a crucial role in this theory. The castle has always been associated with strange happenings, mysterious deaths, and supernatural occurrences. But what if these aren't just random curses or magical side effects? What if Harrenhal serves as a testing ground, a place where potential candidates for the three-eyed raven position are evaluated and prepared? The castle's history supports this interpretation. Throughout the centuries, Harrenhal has been the site of numerous significant events that shape the course of Westerosi history. Kings have died there, crucial decisions have been made within its walls, and the fate of dynasties has been determined in its halls. If someone was selecting a location to train a future three-eyed raven, a place so steeped in consequential history would be ideal. The timing of Daemon's arrival at Harrenhal is also significant. He doesn't go there randomly. He's drawn there by circumstances that seem almost orchestrated. The military situation that leads him to the castle, the specific challenges he faces there, and the way events unfold to keep him there longer than originally planned all suggests a larger design at work. Daemon's psychological state when he arrives at Harrenhal also makes him an ideal candidate for this transformation. He's at a crossroads in his life, questioning his role in the family, his purpose in the broader conflict, and his place in history. This kind of existential uncertainty creates the perfect conditions for the kind of profound transformation that becoming the Three-Eyed Raven would require. The nature of the Three-Eyed Raven position itself explains why Daemon would be such a compelling choice. The role requires someone who understands power but isn't consumed by it, someone who has experienced both triumph and failure, and someone who can see beyond immediate personal interests to the broader patterns of history. Daemon's life experiences have given him exactly these qualifications. His military background provides him with an understanding of strategy and long-term planning that would be essential for someone guiding historical events from behind the scenes. His political experience has taught him how individual decisions can have far-reaching consequences. His personal losses and disappointments have given him the wisdom to understand that not every battle can or should be won. The visions Daemon experiences also seem designed to test his character and judgment. He's shown moments where intervention might have changed history for the better, situations where his ancestors made crucial mistakes, and possibilities for future events that could go in multiple directions. These aren't just educational experiences. They're evaluations of how he would handle the kind of knowledge and responsibility that comes with being the Three-Eyed Raven. Consider how Daemon's behavior begins to change during his time at Harrenhal. He becomes more contemplative, more willing to consider long-term consequences, and less impulsive in his decision-making. These changes aren't just character development, they're signs of someone adapting to a new way of seeing and understanding the world. His relationship with time itself seems to shift. Daemon has always been a man of action, someone who lives in the present moment and makes quick decisions. But at Harrenhal, he begins to demonstrate a different relationship with time, one that acknowledges the connections between past, present, and future. This temporal awareness is fundamental to the Three-Eyed Raven's abilities. The way other characters react to Daemon after his experiences at Harrenhal also supports this theory. There's something different about him, something that goes beyond just the stress of military command or political pressure. People sense that he's changed in some fundamental way, that he's operating from a different perspective than he was before. Brynden Rivers serves as more than just a love interest or mysterious figure in Daemon's story. Her role seems to be that of a guide or mentor, helping him understand and accept what's happening to him. Her knowledge of magic, her connection to the supernatural forces at work in Harrenhal, and her apparent understanding of Daemon's destiny all point to her being instrumental in his transformation. The conversations between Daemon and Brynden Rivers take on new meaning when viewed through this lens. She's not just sharing magical knowledge with him, she's helping him understand the responsibilities and burdens that come with the kind of power he's being offered. Her warnings about the cost of such abilities, her insights into the nature of prophecy and destiny, and her understanding of the sacrifices required all serve to prepare him for what he might become. The physical changes Daemon experiences at Harrenhal also support this theory. The exhaustion, the disorientation, the way he sometimes seems to be looking through, rather than at the people around him. These could all be signs of someone whose consciousness is expanding beyond normal human limits. The process of becoming the Three-Eyed Raven would likely be physically and mentally taxing, requiring significant adjustment to new ways of perceiving reality. His dreams and visions become increasingly prophetic and accurate, suggesting that he's developing the kind of foresight associated with the Three-Eyed Raven. These aren't just random supernatural experiences. They're signs of developing abilities that would be essential for someone taking on that role. Strategic implications of Daemon becoming the Three-Eyed Raven are enormous. Unlike Bran Stark, who came to the role as a young person with limited life experience, Daemon would bring decades of political, military, and personal knowledge to the position. His understanding of power dynamics, his experience with both victory and defeat, and his deep knowledge of Targaryen history would make him uniquely qualified to guide future events. This would also explain some of the seemingly contradictory aspects of Daemon's character development in the series. His increasing wisdom and restraint, combined with his continued capacity for decisive action, create the perfect balance for someone who would need to understand when to intervene in historical events and when to allow them to unfold naturally. The magical elements of Daemon's bloodline support his candidacy for this role. Targaryens have always had connections to magic, prophecy, and supernatural forces. Their ability to bond with dragons, their prophetic dreams, and their resistance to fire all suggest the natural affinity for the kind of mystical abilities required for the Three-Eyed Raven position. The generational aspect of this theory is also compelling. If Daemon were to become the Three-Eyed Raven during the events of House of the Dragon, he would be in position to influence events throughout the centuries leading up to Game of Thrones. This would make him a hidden architect of Westerosi history, working behind the scenes to guide events toward the ultimate resolution of the conflicts between ice and fire. Consider how this would reframe the entire narrative of both series. Instead of being separate stories connected only by family lineage, House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones would become parts of a single, carefully orchestrated historical arc, guided by Daemon's influence as the Three-Eyed Raven. His knowledge of Targaryen strengths and weaknesses, his understanding of the political forces that shaped his era, and his personal investment in his family's legacy would all inform his guidance of future events. The emotional complexity this adds to Daemon's character is profound. Accepting the role of Three-Eyed Raven would require him to sacrifice his personal desires and immediate ambitions for the greater good of historical progress. This would be the ultimate expression of the character growth he's been experiencing throughout the series. His relationship with his family takes on new meaning in this context. His love for his brother, his devotion to his daughters, and his complex relationship with Rhaenyra wouldn't just be personal connections. They would be the emotional foundation that grounds him while he takes on cosmic responsibilities. The Three-Eyed Raven needs to understand human emotions and connections while transcending them. And Daemon's family relationships provide the perfect training for this balance. The prophecy of the prince that was promised gains new dimensions. If Daemon is destined to become the Three-Eyed Raven, the prince who unites ice and fire might not be a warrior who defeats the White Walkers, but rather someone who gains the wisdom and power to guide history toward the resolution of these ancient conflicts. Daemon's role would be to ensure that the right people are in the right places at the right times to fulfill their destinies. The visions at Harrenhal become a form of job interview and training program when viewed through this theory. Daemon is being shown what the role entails, what knowledge he would have access to, and what responsibilities he would need to accept. The fact that he doesn't flee from these experiences, that he gradually adapts to them and begins to understand their significance, suggests that he's accepting the role being offered to him. The way the visions connect past, present, and future also mirrors the Three-Eyed Raven's perspective on time. Daemon isn't just seeing random moments from history, he's experiencing the interconnectedness of events across centuries. This temporal awareness would be essential for someone guiding historical events from a position outside normal time constraints. Alys Rivers' role as guide and teacher makes even more sense in this context. She's not just helping Daemon understand his personal destiny, she's preparing him for a role that will affect the entire course of human history. Her knowledge, her magical abilities, and her understanding of the supernatural forces at work all point to her being far more significant than she initially appears. The physical location of Harrenhal adds another layer to this theory. The castle sits at the heart of Westeros, making it an ideal location for someone who would need to influence events across the entire continent. Its connection to significant historical events means that it's already steeped in the kind of temporal significance that would make it a perfect base of operations for the Three-Eyed Raven. The magical properties of Harrenhal itself could be connected to its role as a training ground for the Three-Eyed Raven. The strange occurrences, the supernatural experiences, and the way the castle seems to affect everyone who stays there might all be manifestations of its connection to the mystical forces that govern the position. Daemon's evolving relationship with dragon dreams and prophetic visions throughout the series supports this interpretation of his character development. He's always had some connection to Targaryen magical abilities, but his experiences at Harrenhal seem to amplify and focus these natural talents in ways that align with the Three-Eyed Raven's abilities. The strategic timing of his transformation also makes sense from a historical perspective. The events of House of the Dragon represent a crucial turning point in Westerosi history, with the Targaryen Civil War reshaping the political landscape for generations. Having someone with intimate knowledge of these events guiding future developments would ensure that the lessons learned aren't lost to time. The psychological profile required for the Three-Eyed Raven position explains why Daemon would be such an ideal candidate. The role requires someone who can maintain their humanity while accessing cosmic levels of knowledge and power. Daemon's strong emotional connections to his family provide the anchor that would keep him grounded, while his intelligence and experience give him the wisdom to handle such responsibilities. His military background becomes particularly relevant when considering the kinds of large-scale historical conflicts he might need to guide as the Three-Eyed Raven. Understanding warfare, strategy, and the human cost of conflict would be essential for someone making decisions that affect entire civilizations. The theory also explains some of the more mysterious aspects of Daemon's character throughout the series. His occasional moments of seemingly supernatural insight, his ability to make decisions that prove remarkably prescient, and his intuitive understanding of complex political situations all make more sense if he's gradually developing the abilities associated with the three-eyed raven position. The way other magical elements in the series respond to Daemon also supports this interpretation. Dragons seem particularly responsive to him. Magical locations affect him more strongly than others, and supernatural phenomena seem drawn to his presence. These could all be signs of someone whose mystical abilities are growing and evolving. The emotional journey this creates for Daemon is compelling from a narrative perspective. The man who began the series focused on personal glory and immediate satisfaction would gradually transform into someone capable of thinking in terms of centuries and civilizations. This character arc represents one of the most profound transformations possible in Martin's world. The implications for his relationships are equally significant. Accepting the role of Three-Eyed Raven would require Daemon to view his loved ones not just as family members, but as pieces in a vast historical pattern. His decisions about their lives and futures would need to be guided by knowledge of their ultimate destinies and roles in the larger story. This adds tragic weight to his interactions with his family throughout the series. Knowing what would be required of him, understanding the sacrifices he might need to make or ask them to make, would create an underlying tension in even his most intimate moments. The love he feels for them wouldn't diminish, but it would be complicated by his growing awareness of the larger forces at work. The visual and symbolic elements of Daemon's story at Harrenhal also support this theory. The imagery of him moving through the castle's ancient halls, the way he's often shown in contemplative poses against backgrounds that emphasize the weight of history, and the recurring motifs of eyes and sight all reinforce the connection to the Three-Eyed Raven. Mythology. His gradual isolation from normal human concerns and his increasing focus on larger patterns and meanings mirror what we know about how the Three-Eyed Raven position affects those who hold it. The process isn't immediate or easy. It requires a fundamental shift in perspective that would naturally create distance from ordinary human experiences. The theory also provides a satisfying explanation for why Daemon's story seems to be building towards something larger than just political or military resolution. His character arc has always suggested that he's destined for something more significant than just being another player in the Game of Thrones. Becoming the Three-Eyed Raven would represent the ultimate fulfillment of that destiny. The connection between this theory and the broader themes of Martin's work is also compelling. The idea that power requires sacrifice, that wisdom comes through suffering, and that the greatest heroes are often those who accept the heaviest burdens, all find expression in the concept of Daemon choosing to become the Three-Eyed Raven. Way this would connect House of the Dragon to Game of Thrones creates a satisfying narrative continuity that goes beyond just family lineage. Instead of being separate stories that happen to involve the same bloodlines, they would become chapters in a single epic, guided by the same consciousness operating across centuries. Looking at all the evidence, the nature of his visions at Harrenhal, the guidance he receives from Rivers, the changes in his character and perspective, the strategic timing of his experiences, and the way all of these elements align with what we know about the Three-Eyed Raven position, a clear picture emerges. Daemon Targaryen isn't just experiencing random magical phenomena at Harrenhal. He's being recruited, trained, and ultimately choosing to accept one of the most important roles in the entire mythology of Westeros. Whether this transformation is fully completed during the events of House of the Dragon or continues to unfold over time, the evidence suggests that Daemon's destiny lies not in conventional conquest or political power, but in becoming the mystical guardian of human history itself. The Rogue Prince's greatest rebellion might be against the very concept of linear time, as he accepts the responsibility to guide and protect the flow of history from a perspective that transcends normal human existence. This theory transforms every scene at Harrenhal, from mere supernatural atmosphere, into crucial moments in one of the most significant character transformations in fantasy literature. Daemon Targaryen's choice to become the Three-Eyed Raven would represent not just personal growth, but the acceptance of a cosmic responsibility that would define the secret history of Westeros for centuries to come.